Yeah. Okay, Hendrix with Guns N' Roses. The Edge.
That's the U2 guitar.
Yeah. Stevie with Dylan, maybe. Ending with Harrison.
George, wait. Yeah, it's... Well, yeah, ending with, like, the Beatles, like, the end.
Yeah.
Final chord.
Yeah.
Oh, no, kind of day in the end into Day in the Life. Final chord.
I read the news today.
And then... But there's some kind of a sort of a 90s, like Alanis Morissette type backbeat under the George thing.
Well, some of the drums are going to be a big topic of conversation and consternation this evening. You know, the drums definitely had a 90s feel on the classic rock. We're just dissecting the classic rock, the classic albums theme song.
The docu-series, I assume from the 90s.
Yeah, I assume so. And we're like the song itself that is their theme song kind of feels like you can imagine these guys like in a focus group working on like, okay, well, this is what we want. This is all about, classic albums. So we want to like really make sure everyone is everyone's kind of represented.
We want to run the gambit here.
Yeah, and also it's about representation, and we want to make sure all the greats are represented. So, we've kind of figured out, I'm not doing the CEO guy anymore, or the marketing guy, I'm back to being James.
Okay.
That like, it's Hendrix with like Slash, kind of Guns N' Roses. It's probably Guns N' Roses era. So it's Hendrix with like Guns N' Roses.
Heavy tambourine in that opening part though. So I'm wondering
Interesting.
So like there's something else going on there. Like,
do you want to just play it again real quick?
Yeah,
the whole thing.
I'd love to hear it one more time.
I'll actually put it into the...
So I don't need to play it.
You don't even
now.
need... No, you play it
so
in
my mind.
We can hear it. Yeah.
Oh, we can hear it. Okay, here we go.
So. Hendrix. Foxy.
Yeah.
The Edge. Stevie. Bow.
George. And then Day in the Life.
Yeah, interesting. So they chose... That kind of makes sense.
The intro is also like when the levee breaks drums.
Yeah, it is. God, that's totally what it is.
At the very beginning.
Just play it one more time.
Check it out. Just the beginning. And then straight into Jimmy.
Into Foxy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
I mean, say what you will about making, a classic album or like one type of music.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty impressive to kind of make one song that encapsulates so many great artists.
Also just encapsulates the spirit of rock and roll. Mm-hmm. The spirit of classic
It's pretty easy
rock.
to just do like a Jimmy type song or like a Stevie. Try doing all those guys in
15 seconds.
15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I want to know who that is, and I'd like to do a pod on...
That guy's, or girl, could be a lady, repertoire.
Could be an AI.
Could be AI. We fed every classic rock song ever into this AI, and here's the song it came up with. Yeah. That kind of vibe.
It feels like that.
Totally.
I used to have, when I was a teenager, like a digital recording unit, like an 8-track.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like digital, Yamaha digital thing.
Yeah.
And it had like a thing built in that was kind of like, this is an example of what you can do
possibly
with this machine.
Software.
And it was like that. It was like every type of music
all in
and
one.
Like
the demo button
and like the edit, like the way you can edit stuff and like quick edits into like different style. It was really hilarious. We used to sit around and smoke weed and listen to it over and over again. Like that. It was called like In the City.
Yes. Nice.
And it was like this kind of, I
it
still have the
fusion?
machine.
Kind of fusion-y?
I wonder if it's like a cool machine or something.
I mean, I had a 4-track. I grew up with a 4 Mark II Tascam. Got it for like my 13th birthday. Learned how to use it. When I moved to Vancouver in my 20s, I saw one at a pawn shop for like, hey, listen, you want to do some culture for a minute? Do you know, I just said the word pawn shop, which isn't in my, and the English people listening will know, vernacular, because we say pawn shop and pornography, the same word, and I just changed it for your benefit, pawn shop.
Pawn shop.
Yeah, I did it for you,
Thank
because
you.
it would just be pawn shop in England, but we don't, well, it would be charity shop in England, but You know, you live somewhere for a long enough time, you start saying water instead of water.
But what I was saying is that mine was digital, so it's probably really
no, they're
bad.
probably in because I had I bought it for $30 here, the same machine. Used
tape,
it a bit,
right?
It's cassette though.
Yeah, but that's like at least got some like digital
posterity.
Can't have any like. You know what I mean? Where it was cool.
It
It's
might
got to be worse.
these days. I don't know, man.
Like it's only gotten better, hasn't it?
I'm
Like,
just saying, like, I gave my machine to Daniel Rinken, and it's worth like $600 now for some reason. Because I don't know, like, everyone still thinks that it's possible to make Nebraska.
yeah.
Like,
well, you need
you need
a 4-track to do that.
and you need that.
Yeah, and an SM57.
You know, a lot of 57s on Tom Petty's stage.
I've only ever seen him singing into one. I think
Sounds great.
like, in my life.
This is a Wednesday one, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Impossible Way of Life podcast, where we dissect.
I thought you were gonna keep going. I thought you were gonna talk over the.
Oh, it's not just Stevie. It's Always on the Run. Lenny Kravitz and Slash.
Yeah, which is essentially Stevie meets Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly.
sure.
In a dress.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm always on the run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that album.
It's a good one. Yeah.
Mama Said.
Mama Said. That's a good tune.
That's the same tune.
Yeah, it's a good tune.
He did one of those cool art things where it says Mama Said, but the song's called Always on the
Always
Run.
on the run. Yeah, man. Exactly. Because I'm all. You know, he plays everything himself.
Of course.
Yeah.
Lisa Bonet broke his heart. That's why.
She
That's how
could
we
break-
got that great
she
record.
Could break anyone's heart.
So many tears.
That's a really good song.
song.
That's a good song.
It's a great.
It's
song.
a good song. Yeah. And you know,
I like.
fuck it, dude. Let's do that record. Fuck it. Fuck the 70s. Let's do 90s Lenny Kravitz.
I'm gonna stand by my woman now.
Soul.
It's a great song. Great
New
record.
soul.
I love it.
Yeah, man. That guy lives. You got to see his like cribs.
I thought he really got going once he did that American Woman cover.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty good. But you got to see his like MTV cribs, his like where he lives right now. It's probably not even on cribs, it's like Architectural Digest or something. Like lives in the jungle in Brazil and has like, you know, like a plantation, and like he walks you around his house and he's like, it's just the craziest house you've ever seen. Like the opulence is insane because also like the price of living's so cheap there too. So he's like already loaded, but it's a kind of real like, it's like, you know, it's a real fucking back to the land energy. Like
Right.
It's not like I'm going to like, you know, Encinitas or something. It's like, no, I'm going to go buy half of Brazil.
It's like how
and it's
Johnny
like-
Depp
so-
owns that island or whatever.
Yeah, so he like rides around on his horse all day. He has people who work for him who just bring him fresh fruit because he like has enough like orchards.
He just employs them for the year to do that.
Yeah, like that's their
essentially.
job. Is like he comes home, he's like, look, there's bowls everywhere you go in his house. There's just bowls of fruit, fresh fruit. It's like pick today. Like it's so important. And he has his like his guitarist is weirdly there in the video, and his guitarist like is a wigger. Like he's like, you know, got like dreads, the outfits on, but is like dressed like Lenny Kravitz, but is just like it's like me dressed like Lenny Kravitz.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So
Are you sure he isn't just down there so he can find some kind of Brazilian street musicians that he can embarrass by?
I mean, he's famously
sitting
does that
down
on YouTube.
like the conga drums, and it's like
Yeah.
a 4-year-old, and he's like,
Yeah.
"No, let me sit in."
There's plenty of videos of him doing that on YouTube.
I know.
Dude, going to like that New Orleans one where he's like, there's a whole like children's kind of rock band
Jazz
playing
band or something.
Fly Away, like, and he just like, he's like, yo, I'm gonna show up, and he gets the drummer off the drums and starts just shredding. But the only thing is, the guitarist is actually really good.
And
The
so
kid
so
pissed.
Lenny Kravitz is really upset.
Yeah,
and
he's like, get off the guitar.
He's like, "Fuck! I wish they had like another guitar."
like, or yeah,
or
so-
like, I wish I could play drums and guitar at the same time.
yeah, he doesn't have the chops to be better than that 14-year-old, maybe autistic kid who knows how to play Fly Away real good.
Yeah.
It's
Probably why he chose the drums.
Yeah,
he,
it was a conscious.
preyed on the weak.
Yeah, he preyed on the weak.
Yeah.
all good.
He's like, well,
artists
guitar player,
do.
I can't take
I can't take
him.
this guy.
No.
So I'll
This
take
drummer
the drummer.
kind of sucks. He's learning.
Yeah.
Step
So,
aside.
Step aside.
I'll
let
show
me
you my
play.
like moderate drum skills.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, so this is Impossible Way of Life. It's a Wednesday, which means you get this shit for free. We also do a Sunday premium backstage, all access. Kind of, you want to know what happens backstage in a concert. You know, these guys are coming out on stage and they're like, we're here to play a great show for you. That's the Wednesday. Then, you know, gloves are off. The curtain drops. We go backstage, pull out our cohibas, some tequila.
Whoa, I thought you were going somewhere else.
And, you know, we're just hanging out back there, really letting you know how we feel. Letting it all hang
Everybody
out.
knows that I go to sleep at 5 o'clock on Friday.
Yeah.
And I don't wake up until Sunday when we do, because I need all the energy. I need to be what I call my recharge time for the
Yeah, you've
Patreon
always
episode.
called it that.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, now I think about it. Yeah.
It's like Tiger, how he doesn't really play
Well,
until
you also-
Sunday. I wear red.
You always wear red on
always
Sunday.
wear red like
I've
Tiger,
seen that.
yeah.
You're a Toreador.
Sending out love to Tiger, you know. Career's
Totally.
probably over, I guess.
Yeah, but if you can get back in the fucking sack, you know, spending $100,000 a week in Vegas, as long as he can fucking no, man.
If Elon Musk is, you know, going to send us to Mars, he can surely build Tiger a new body. I figure.
Well, he's already made him one back.
That's what I mean.
He fucked his back up by fucking too much.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's worse ways to go out. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't.
I don't
want
even
him
know. Did he get seriously injured in the car
Yeah,
accident?
he's like conscious, but like like he's like responsive, but like can't get out of bed. It's bad.
damn.
He's fucked himself
I
up.
love Tiger. I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's one of the greatest stories of you know, elite athletics and sport.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're Tiger, you know.
Which album are we doing?
I don't fucking know, man. It's a Wednesday. We put all our energy into Sundays.
Pick one right now. What do you
Tom
want to do?
Petty, Damn the Torpedoes.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
What do you think it exactly is to live like a refugee in Tom Petty's?
Well, if anybody knows, it's Tom Petty.
In Tom Petty's like version of that story, what do you think he thinks living like a refugee is? Is it like being trapped to a lot of incel energy on this record? Like all the songs are kind of, a lot of songs are about being in love or like getting your girl to strut her stuff.
Right.
So you can be proud and be like, she's mine.
Yeah.
Or being like, get out of my life. I'm cheating on my wife with you. I didn't ask for you to show up and like tempt me. And refugee
Is it
might
really?
be like,
I've never dug that deep.
well, no, I think refugee is the only one on the record I can't really figure out what it's about.
You're asking the wrong guy. Can you pull the lyrics up for me?
Let's get it up. Yeah. Refugee.
I'll tell you one thing about the song Refugee that bothers me.
Yeah.
The way the backup singers pronounce the word refugee.
Refugee.
I always, like, it's almost unlistenable to me for that reason.
That's kind of proto Mutt Lang Def
I
Leppard
love
style.
how he goes, refugee, and then they go, don't have to live like a refugee.
Probably Stan Lynch being a jock. It's probably him because he thinks he's the lead singer. It's this band is like, you know, I love this record, gotta say.
Yeah, it's great.
I really fucking like it. It means a lot to me. And like, there's lots of contradictory elements to why I like it. Things that make it good that shouldn't, and vice versa, and things that should make it good that make it bad. And like, it's weird and there's obviously like a much discussed problematic relationship with Stan Lynch and Tom Petty over their entire career. But yeah, I would imagine like that is one of the things that like snuck in that he did. It was like, I'm fucking singing this
Creative
shit.
decision.
Like, and they're just like, you know what? We've fucking basically made him
We can't argue with him anymore
every
about
time,
this.
you
So
know,
we'll
and
let
he's
him
like,
have
let
this
him
one.
have, he thinks he's the lead vocalist.
Yeah.
So he's going to over-sing the
Yeah,
fucking
he's like, it'll
backing
be cool
vocal.
if I go refugee, kind of cool stuff.
Cool guy, like kind of like
Yeah.
New York,
Petty's
like
just
gangster.
Iovine's like, it's like, just let him have it.
Just like, because we've already told him,
Let him
we've
have
already
this
completely changed the way he plays drums.
Yeah.
We did something.
Told
we
him
both
to tune the drums for once. Or
We
like,
did something. We both know it. We don't talk too much about it. Ain't no real big secret all the same. Somehow we get around it. Listen, it don't matter to me, baby. You believe what you want to believe. You see, you don't have to live like a refugee.
I think it's just he thought it sounded cool. I think
Yeah. He actually says on the classic albums that it took him 7 minutes to write that song. So, and he says that he wrote it, and I love this about the Heartbreakers, and it goes kind of respected outside of the lore of them, is like, he's got like the perfect wingman in Campbell, right? Like it's like absolutely like legit perfect wingman. And you can even see like in their relationship as adults still that like he's so dominant, Petty's so dominant that like when they're talking about refugee, like he's like, oh, you know, like Mike brought the entire song recorded already. Mm-hmm. And I like wrote the lyrics in 6 minutes and didn't really think too much of it because it took a minute, but like the song just kept like showing. He never says like it's Mike's song. Like he had like everything charted out done. He's like, and I wrote like 6 minutes of like lyrics that don't really mean. I mean, obviously his vocals are amazing.
Yeah,
but
guess
Mike
the melody,
is the wingman
singing,
guy,
right?
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Well, I think Mike Campbell's the ultimate wingman because he doesn't want to take any of the spotlight away from
doesn't
Tom.
want any of it.
That's what makes him the ultimate wingman.
Yeah, you know, I thought it was interesting talking about refugees specifically. It's an Albert King riff again.
Blues, dude.
Dude, it's blues.
You know what's funny is there was a quote from Mike Campbell I
Blues.
love that he was just like, he was like, our music is really, it was just blues that we were listening to and Beatles.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's exactly like our podcast.
Yeah. It is
Blues
totally.
and Beatles. That's all we ever talk about.
That is interesting. And I was really hungover today, so it might be that this is redundant. But then I was thinking about that, like blues music, southern music, southern music, blues.
Blues,
I don't know why
blues,
I'm doing like
Beatles,
Sean Connery.
Beatles.
But like, they're from Gainesville, right? They consider themselves southern.
Uh-huh. Well, that's the deep south.
Yeah, they're in Florida, so they're like saying like, you know, we grew up listening to blues, and because it's the late 70s, like the British rock. And I was wondering, like, are there bands prior that really take that on? So it's like all these British bands that like took the blues on, made the beat, like the Beatles and shit, and like, oh yeah, sure, like there's like the Byrds and all these electric bands, but they're kind of just doing the Beatles. Like this is like a
Big Star.
Yeah, totally. Big Star are a good example of like 70s
From the South, Memphis.
Yeah.
Mixture of blues, R&B, and Beatles.
Yeah,
And
totally.
Same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But like 6 years earlier.
And it had time to digest, you know.
Or I guess, when did this record come out?
It's like, what, like 79 or something? I don't know.
Yeah. So quite a bit earlier, yeah.
Mid-70s.
Yeah, I actually was listening to it and I was like, it's very similar to Big Star. Like in its kind of, like it's not as polished, but like just like in
Yes.
the like the sound, the riffs, big beat.
Totally.
Big drum sound.
Yeah.
Kind of a thin male singer.
Yeah.
Like.
Totally. Yeah, definitely.
Big choruses, jangle. Like, yeah.
It's like...
But I'm sure there are probably a few others, like maybe like you could make oh, I see what you mean though, with the kind of bluesy R&B feel. And
which is like, it's true. It has like a southern R&B backbeat.
maybe kind of like a Dwight Twilley, that kind of stuff.
Well, he played with them.
They were
right?
talking about
like
Twilley
kinda,
being involved,
Yeah.
or the
they got
drummer or
him to
something.
drum when Stan Lynch quit for a couple of weeks because he didn't like his
But
snare.
like Twilley's from, I think, from the South too.
Right.
And same kind of thing, power pop. There were some, but Petty obviously exploded it.
So, are they a power pop band or are they a Heartland rock band?
Well, they do a little bit of both on this album.
Yeah.
For sure.
Total.
It's power pop.
This is a total power pop record.
But then like Louisiana Rain is straight up Heartland.
it's brutal though.
It's brutal. Do you know that it's also total rip of a CCR song?
I'm sure.
The Will the Rain Keep Falling
yeah.
and the Golden Chains.
Yeah.
And that one's called Who'll Stop the Rain.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's Louisiana Rain.
I mean, up until that point, the album's faultless.
Not to me.
Just as a power pop record.
Oh, well.
It's like we're not talking about like every song being like Bohemian Rhapsody.
No.
They have like really innocent fun. There's a couple like there's that like Stonesy kind of like Miss You era Stonesy one.
I like that one. To you tell me.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Okay, don't get me wrong here. Okay, the first 3 songs on this record are maybe like, among the strongest of any record I know, around that time.
Sure.
Like it just rips, man. I threw it on Refugee, Here Comes My Girl, Even the Losers.
Yeah. Shadow of Doubt's cool,
just kind of
man.
like, it's cool.
These are just songs.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Yeah,
when we're talking about like a classic album, like Rumors and shit. Like it's no like Century City.
Oh yeah,
it's
you like Songbird.
It's kind of like a bluesy like.
But it's a power pop record.
Yeah,
they're just ripping through another tune.
It's more like kind of
full
like,
throttle.
Like Century City and those ones are a little bit more like not power pop like riff. They're more kind of like rock and roll blues, like late 50s.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of like.
Yeah, totally.
Which to me is a little bit. It's not like.
Except they're not produced that way, right? They're produced in a kind of like cool way.
I just mean more songs. It sounds great.
Yeah,
sure.
it does. I mean,
like from a songwriting point of view, like
Jimmy Iovine said when Tom Petty came in and like played him Refugee and Here Comes My Girl, he was like, you don't need to write any more songs to this record.
And if I'm being honest, like this has been my problem with Petty a lot, is that I love the great songs. I love, a lot of the albums I like to listen, but there's no album that I'm like, it's probably Wildflowers, honestly. Full Moon Fever's pretty solid.
Yeah.
But like to me, he's not a guy that I'm just like, yeah, I'll grab the record, I'll throw it on, and I'm not going to get bored the whole way through.
Right.
It's just, I love Tom Petty.
You're a fully like a Big Star guy.
Oh yeah.
But like they do this.
I mean, to me, Radio City's front to back good.
I don't know, man. I think that's
what's the bad song on that one?
I think you're just pitchforking with that, man.
What's the bad song on it?
Well, I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It's like kind of it's kind of like.
But they're really interestingly written, like thoughtful, sad songs, or like crazy rockers.
You don't get annoyed by the strap tone a little bit eventually?
No, I love it. It's like a rockin' trio. It's like proto-punk or something.
Prototype.
No, that's not a pitchfork.
I think that's the difference between me and you, is that I'm willing to go that extra mile into the pop new wave world, or like I like aesthetically like it, whereas you kind of are like, I want to stay with these other men, the other men,
the
like the Nielsen's, you like the kind of like the guys, the tragic figures of rock and roll, whereas I'm like, I like the guys at the right out front, like Petty being like, I'm just down with Torpedoes, big statement, big new wave record.
Yeah, but I like, massive records from right around the same time, like Bowie records or
from all like Let's Dance and shit.
Totally, like big massive records with big front men with personality. Yeah. I'm purely just talking about the like, and I love like Nick Lowe or that kind of sound, like Cruel to Be Kind.
Yeah, they're nearly man.
You can't compare like Cruel to Be Kind with Century City like as a song.
Yeah, but they're nearly man again. It's like Cruel to Be Kind's like his big hit anyway, right? That's the only one. Okay, there's some weak stuff on Labor of Lust. There's some weak stuff on that record
for sure.
But
anyway, it's nothing against Petty, I'm purely just talking about the songs. Like,
yeah.
I don't think you can pigeonhole it into the weird guys. Like, I love rock and roll. Like, if the record rules, I'm into it.
He's a 45s guy, right?
Yeah, it's like CCR. Luke was talking to me about this the other day. I don't want to steal his thunder because I feel like this is a really good bit for when we have them.
Yeah.
But how they do this, where it's like,
their records aren't stacked.
There'll be like 6 songs that fucking blow your mind.
Totally, yeah.
And then like ooby dooby, and you're like, what? Like, and I'm not saying these are as bad.
Different model, right? With those guys too, and Petty, like they're releasing an album every year as well.
Well, and the singles rule.
Rip.
Like, I'm just like, for me, it's like, I feel like they're focusing on the singles, and then it's a bit of filler types.
Oh, no doubt, of course.
Whereas Big Star, they weren't approaching a record that way.
Right.
Like, he was approaching it from the point of view of like a Beatles thing, where it's like an arty, Kinks thing, where it's like an arty scope by that point, right?
Interesting.
Like, that's all I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas no disrespect. Like, I love like singles and
So maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just more of the singles guy.
Yeah, I mean, and I love this thing. Like, give me a Petty like double greatest hits.
Oh yeah,
I'll listen to it every day.
Oh yeah.
Like,
do you think he's a Dylan guy or a Birds guy? Or is he Birds doing Dylan guy?
Yeah, it's to me that's kind of like a step 1, step 2, step 3. It goes Dylan, Birds, Petty. Like I feel like Petty's, it sounds Birdsy because he likes both or something. Like
really Birdsy to me.
Really Birdsy. Yeah.
Yeah, like Jangle.
He sings more like McGuinn than like Dylan to me.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like I think like yeah, she's all right.
The slow thing.
It's very
the kind of laconic kind of.
McGuinn's doing like a more melodic Dylan.
He kind of invented the melodic Dylan
the
vibe.
Melodic Dylan. Yeah, exactly. And
I mean,
Petty does it great too. Yeah,
but he also like sometimes just does Dylan.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
But like Louisiana Rain, that one feels Birdsy too, a bit. Like, because it's country kind
of. It's weird on classic albums how they really focused on that song.
They skip the 3 worst songs of the album. They don't even talk about them.
No, they don't talk about them. But then they like focus on... Well, I know I really like You Tell Me because it sounds like...
I do. I like that
It sounds like Keith Richards. Like they're definitely listening to like Some Girls
it's
and
funky.
shit and
it's
being
funky.
like...
I like
Emotional Rescue.
Yeah. I was digging it.
But yeah, you're right. And then like, I don't know. It's funny that it's not a good song, Louisiana Rain.
Not really.
It's not like not anything.
No.
It's like
but he's talking about the lyrics and I'm
as
like,
if you would care.
Yeah, and he's like, it's kind of this English. That's another one. I'm like, what's this about? Because it's like talking about San Diego Ocean in California.
Yeah.
But then he's like, by the time I get to Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And it's like this English refugee eating.
Love it, refugee again. He's back on that theme.
Yeah.
It's like a Gulf War. No, it's earlier than that, isn't it? Korea.
He interprets the word refugee to mean like a lost soul.
It's true. That's what he thinks. Maybe he just thinks it means.
He thinks it means that.
This is like all it means is a guy whose like girlfriend has dumped him. It means you're a refugee.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, man. I'm just like, and no one, because he's Tom Petty, no one's ever corrected him.
Yeah.
He's just like, man, it's like crazy. Like, I just feel like a refugee, man. She left me again, and I'm like, totally, man, totally, yeah. Just get back in the studio, write another hit. No one corrects him.
Has he ever used the word refugee again in a song? I wonder.
Well, he used it in Louisiana Rain.
But like later.
Oh, so like he realized after this record song was like, they're like, hey man, like it's like so deep that you wrote a song about like the survival of people who've been like displaced in war, and he's like, shit, that's what it means.
A part I loved in this classic albums documentary about Damn the Torpedoes.
Yeah.
Was when they're listening to Refugee.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Iovine's sitting at the mixing board with his like Beats
headphones.
Beats by Iovine headphones.
100%. It's crazy.
And they're talking about the shaker part that Jim Keltner played.
One of my favorite stories of all time.
and then like Petty's like with the fader, he's like, listen to this. He's like, doesn't sound like much at all. Like, but then check this out. He put this shaker in, he fades it up, and Jimmy Iovine's face is a bit, he's like, wow. He's just like, wow. Listen to that. Like,
dude,
there you go.
It's really cool though.
It is.
And there's that amazing scene at the end of the documentary where he's like, because like as soon as you listen to Damn the Torpedoes, I've listened to it like a million times. You do realize like the shaker in every song is really loud. It's
loud.
Like super cokey. It's so loud. Yeah. So like they have this like super loud shaker. And he says at the end of this documentary, he's like, you get a band like the Heartbreakers and Tom Petty in a room. They're doing something unique, and you record them as best you can, and you add some shaker.
Put some shaker.
Yeah, you can have another one. But it's true. Like, and I was thinking, like, here's one of the contradictions.
Keltner,
well, it is Keltner, right? And Tom won't even give it to him. That's the thing. Cutthroat. He says. What was he even doing? He's always hanging around in the studios. Not saying like, I guess they're like Jim and me are friends now. But he's like, he came in and wanted to play that part. And it's like, we didn't credit him for it. It's like.
Tom's like, did he even do it? And Mike Campbell's like, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
He did.
Yeah, Tom.
But then they're buddies because he's on the Wilburys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Wow, that was crazy, man. someone upstairs. The apartment I live in, the girl who lives upstairs, if you're listening to this, go fuck yourself. You're so loud all the time. I don't know what's going on up there.
Yeah.
She's banging around. I think she's got a new puppy and shit. I don't know. She's got a guy who's really loud. You know when guys move into places and just stomp around? Mm-hmm. You know?
I'd like to think they're just dancing.
No, that wasn't dancing.
That didn't sound
violent.
like
They get
dancing.
in violent confrontations.
Oh,
I think,
dear.
too. It's okay. They're not listening to this podcast.
Tensions are running
Although
high.
that being said, we are like number 6 world globally in music commentary.
Well, it might be getting to the point that we're just popping up on people's feeds everywhere.
Yeah.
Because once you start, you know, it's
Charting.
funny you talk about the Refugee by Tom Petty, because I use this app, Spotify,
Heard
sometimes.
of it? Yeah, I've heard of it, yeah.
And it's actually really cool.
Nice.
Because what it does is that sometimes, you know, I play music on it, and then it'll just kind of figure out what kind of music I like.
Yeah.
On its own.
Yeah.
I don't have to choose the music.
No, it's really good at that.
Yeah, it's really neat.
It actually is really good at it,
It's really
though.
neat. And what it does, for some reason, James, is that it thinks that I want to listen to Refugee by Tom Petty all
the
day
time.
long.
Yeah.
And whenever I go for a run and I let the
It's
shuffle go,
pump up music though.
Refugee comes on, and I'm like, I do like it, but there's something about all the music I listen
That's
to.
saying like you're not
It's like
listening to this enough.
Big Star, like
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
that it all leads to
It's
Refugee.
kind of a like, you know, Memento style, you know, Beautiful
Exactly.
Mind kind
Yeah.
of thing, and they've figured out that in the middle of it is this thing that you aren't listening to enough.
And I'll tell you, when I'm running and it comes on, I don't turn it off.
Listen,
don't
I went
skip
for a
it.
run today and listened to Damn the Torpedoes front to back, and ran a personal best. I mean, I think that of all the records we've done, and this is like episode 45 or something, this is the most runnable record.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because although you're probably right musically, for me, it was Joni Mitchell Blue, because something about just like
Emotional,
crying
fired
while
you
I
up.
was running
And in the rain and
really
shit.
fired me up,
Yeah, yeah.
like gave me a lot of...
And maybe that's why I really like the kind of stuff. Like,
I was able to dig deep into a part of myself I never had before.
well, like Bleecker said, you know, we don't allow ourselves into those landscapes of the mind anymore that we did when we were, you know, young men, adolescents, trying to attract women in any way possible, you know, and using those emotions.
Luke, so I always talk about him, but he cracked me up after when we were doing Blue. He texted me, he's like, I'm having a lot of trouble. He's like, I'm having a lot of trouble pumping iron to these like singer-songwriter albums you guys have been doing, man. He's like, it's
Dude,
not
we
really, not really getting me too jacked
the
up.
fucking Bowie one came out today. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so done so well. People just obviously everyone was just so fucking bored of us doing Laurel Canyon.
Everybody
fucking-
loves Bowie. That's why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get the Pitchfork people too.
Well, exactly. Well, he's a Pitchfork
Yeah.
acclaimed certified
Certified,
Pitchfork
yeah.
artist.
Even though he had sex with a 13-year-old.
Well, they, after he died, they sort of claimed him as their own
100%.
Pitchfork.
Yeah.
They were like, well, he's ours now, you know.
The stars look very different today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rest in
Rocket
power.
Man.
Rocket Man.
Just get it wrong.
Oh, God, when Elton John dies.
Dude,
let's do
Rocket
that.
Man.
Yeah. Rocket Man, yeah.
Tom Petty. You belong amongst the wildflowers. There goes my American boy.
Yeah. Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road. Finally.
Finally.
You can
Thank
sing.
God.
Yeah.
Did anyone else post it yet? Or did I post it first? Have I gone viral?
I was trying to think of the lyrics to Rocket
Dude,
Man.
what's with Mike Campbell's dreads? What's that all
Modern day
about?
dreads?
Yeah, like, why has he got like a Korn vibe?
Cornrows kind of thing?
No, I was thinking like Korn the band. Like, why is he like wearing like a tasseled winged leather jacket and got dreads and shades on?
Corn, yeah, he does. He looks
He kind of
like
looks
the
like
singer
Jonathan Davis.
Of, is that his name?
Yeah. You know that Korn said famously about 2 years ago, like, okay, we admit it, the scandal. We did follow the leader on meth. And it's like, yeah, no doubt. Like, we all knew it. Don't worry
Shocking.
about it. The shocking truth revealed.
I thought you were going to say they came out and said, we'd be nowhere without Tom Petty.
That'd be cool. Or without Mike Campbell.
Yeah.
I did think actually it was pretty cool. Something I've learned on this podcast. And I think it was an Iovine thing from Springsteen, actually.
Yeah.
So this is like a big Iovine moment, and it's actually going to change the way I approach recording moving forward. And it's not the drum bit. We get into the drum bit in a bit. But he says in an interview that I read, like when we were doing, I don't even think it's come out
Born
yet.
to Run.
This comes out after Born to Run. Like that. He's like, people don't pay enough attention to guitar sounds anymore. And I thought it was like an anachronistic thing he was talking about. And he was kind of like, we like try and figure out a new way to record guitars like every time to make it signature, to make them like a signature tone. And I'm like, I mean, how many ways are there to skin a cat? You just use it, it's not like there's pedals and stuff. They're just using like amps and guitars. But the guitars do rip on this record. And then in the classic albums, fucking Dark, they sounded wicked every time they played a guitar. They plugged in, he just like plug his fucking Les Paul into a tweed champ, and it sounded great. And I'm thinking Iovine was probably there. He did probably for the like playback of like, I'm going to show you why, like just play some random blues over these chords, But it sounded good. I also thought it was really funny, like that like scene where it's like Mike Campbell's like talking about writing Refugee, and he's like, yeah, I was listening to like Albert King. So I just played, and he plays like F sharp minor to A to E, just like randomly screws around playing blues over it. And like, it's the 70s. So it's like still no one's done that. So it's like, well, there's still riffs left. Like that's all it takes.
I love how he said that F sharp is the best blues key for a guitarist.
Yeah, it's like the most powerful key for
Interesting.
blues.
I always thought it was A major for blues.
But F sharp minor is A major, man.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's
thing.
just that's his vibe. He's just like,
yeah, I guess you're right.
He's just writing in the minor variant of it.
Yeah, it's true.
So he's just vibing out. But I think it's like cool that they like live in a world where like it makes me think about guitars, and like I need to like get like back to the land with that shit, like record it like that, like just.
Well, I did when I did my record. Your amp was lying around the studio. Your Vibrolux.
Yeah, it's a great amp.
And I got some of that I was like, there's all these pedals, all this fucking shit lying around.
Fucking shit.
Plugins, pedals, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah.
And there was this gold top Les Paul that
Neil style.
It was all broken. Like the intonation was horrible.
You sound like a guy talking on the lingo of a classic albums right now. So it's like
about my own album that's yet to come out.
There was like
so it's like it was just one of those things. It was like there was this old gold top Les Paul lying around, and the thing was just beat to hell, beat to hell. And the intonation was all off. I think it might have been even missing some strings. I don't know.
Was that sound? I think that was
and
Albert King's,
they had all these
it was Albert King's guitar.
Yeah. They had all these pedals lying around, all this stuff. But I said, you know what? I said, hand me a patch cable. I said, hand me a patch cable.
Yeah.
And I just plugged straight into this Vibrolux and just hit a note.
Yeah.
And I looked over at the engineer and I just said, roll the tape.
I hope you were recording. Yeah.
Roll the tape.
Roll the tape. Let's roll.
Let's roll, yeah.
Let's roll into like the Pentagon.
But seriously, and I tried your that amp with like my Strat and the Telly.
Yeah.
It was something about that Les Paul.
Nice.
And your amp, the Vibrolux, you can like pull the volume knob out, right?
You can boost
get gain.
it. Yeah, I'd never do that, but yeah, you can.
And dude, I used it for every lead on the whole record.
There
It
you
just
go,
sounded
man.
fucking. You couldn't beat it.
I love this lingo shit that they do. It's like people like there's like guys like on like how you get on. That's my dream actually, is to get on these classic album style documentaries.
Well, that's where we're headed.
Yeah, like it's a guy and he's like 250, like looks like George from Seinfeld, but his hair's grown out, and they're like, he's probably like never played music, never been around music, just like got him from like, I don't know, like they got him from like the Home Depot that day, and like, what do you think about just tell us what you think about Tom Petty. He's like, no compromise, 24 karat rock and roll, pure heart of rock and roll. That kind of shit.
No, that was a band did no compromises.
Zero
yeah.
compromise.
And then they just come in, 24 karat rock and roll. What the fuck does that
even mean? It's like, just worlds colliding. songs, if you keep folding.
Yeah.
If you keep folding and folding.
Yeah, and he's like, disco was out. They knew it was there.
They knew.
They knew it was there.
They knew.
And in comes Tom.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. Drove across this country to get a record deal.
Yeah.
Tom, but they do it like, I think this is something that happens when like people have believe in their own myth.
Yeah.
Because it's like moments like, it's a great moment with Ben Montench where he's talking about like the guitar in like Here Comes My Girl, which is just like literally an arpeggiated guitar or something. It's nice. It's a nice bit, but it's like birdsy. And he's playing like, he's doing the heavy lifting with his like,
it's a nice piano part.
Really nice piano part, but it's a kind of Baywatch style 80s like Bruce Hornsby style piano part.
Definitely.
Really nice. I love it.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, they're like listening to like Mike Campbell's like part, and they're just like, it's just like literally he's playing like bang gang 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 gang, and they're like, got to be from the South to be able to play like that.
Yeah.
This is like, what?
He's like, none of these guys around here were playing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In 79.
Iovine's like, once in a generation, once every 15 years, you get a guy who
a hammer-on lick
changes the guitar. Hendrix did it. Mike Campbell did it. The Edge did it.
I heard that,
dude. You're like, are you
Edge,
sure?
Hendrix, Campbell.
Yeah.
I was like,
Harrison.
That's a list. The other guys like talks about. I sort of agree in that like Campbell and Harrison sort of both like.
Well, they're just like soft.
They lay back
dudes.
a bit.
You know what? Big respect, big up to this band, because this album, if anything, is an example of a band playing to the song. Man, fuck, and they know it. They're a ripping band, but also like they're playing to the song. They all know it, other than a little bit of beef. And I'd say like, obviously like Stan Lynch fell out of favor eventually because he's like a hot-headed jock dude. When he's like talking, he's just like, like they said my drums sounded like fucking punk ass. It's like saying shit like
Meaning
that.
That was bad.
Yeah, I think he thought it was bad. So, but he's like moaning about having. I think his drums on this record are like kind of the best bit. Like, it's not the best drum sound, by any means.
It's pretty good,
but it's cool, and like it's really signature. And if he had to work really hard to do it, it's like I listened to it, and you know what? It kind of is like that, like New York. It feels gritty, like in this weird way where it's like when I was running. Because they're always talking about how it's like the drum sound was key, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it definitely like the snare sounds like it's a sample. I mean, I guess like in that sense, but like, which would have been impossible, kind of really, unless you were. I mean, there's like some like rudimentary like synthesis at that point, but like I was running, and when the algorithm, when the record finished, it went straight to Steely Dan Dirty Work. And that's a great drum sound.
Well, this is the thing.
And it sounded bigger. So maybe it's to do with it like...
Well, and all the Trident stuff. Like,
yeah, I know. So maybe it's to do with like... Because they're all fucking pedal to the metal the whole time. Like, it's like it cuts through that band.
I thought it was interesting about the detuning
yeah, you can hear it, man. You can hear it.
Well, I'm going to try that because that's pretty cool. I'd never thought of that. But also,
yeah, he's a jock, dude.
I love how Iovine's like, he's talking. It's 79. He's like, he's like, because in New York, that's what we were doing.
Yeah,
we're trying to get that drum. It's all about the drum sound,
dude.
I'm
like, but
it's 79.
I'm kind of
as if the studios in LA were doing that too. Like,
yeah, maybe, but it's like, I'm kind of into it because it is like quite unique. Like, I mean, it doesn't sound specifically like good. Or like, I think that like he's decided. I mean, I agree. I think that this was happening everywhere, but it kind of is a unique sound.
For sure, it was his unique sound.
Yeah,
but not like a New York. Like to say that they were only doing that.
Yeah, he's
snare
just being an Italian.
I know.
Someone's got to be.
Zeppelin had reported in California.
People,
like,
yeah.
It's like,
but it's that kind of like tight, big.
It sounds like that on Beatles records.
100%.
Like the snare sounds like it in the
50s.
Yeah,
it's
so funny.
Yeah, it's weird. But I guess he's wearing a cap and like a Gastrol kind of t-shirt.
He seems like a nice guy.
honestly, like, he did
But
a
he's
good
probably
job.
not.
If they paid him basically to like beg Stan Lynch not to swing anything.
Well, I had a cringeworthy moment there where I was listening to him trying to tell Stan Lynch to play the hi-hat
Just
straight.
play it straight,
I just
dude.
feel like I've been in that room before.
Oh, my God.
And he's like, well, it's just clashing with the shaker.
Like,
And Stan Lynch is like, hey, see that glass window over
Get on the
there?
other side.
Aren't you supposed to be on the other
Yeah.
side of it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's just like, that's it. He's like, you guys are going to sound like the Motels on
It's
this
so
record.
cool.
Great.
Yeah, nice one, dude. Well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
Motels.
So funny.
I got a record by them. It's not bad.
We should do it. I'll do it. I'm
It's a
ready.
decent record.
Yeah, but like, there are moments like Benmont talking about like, they are like, and I would even say like Stan Lynch at that point was corralled for sure, and his ego probably got bruised. But we all know what drummers are like. It's only ever drummers who really do this, because it's like it's kind of more of a sport than it is music. So
Yeah.
like, but Benmont like with "Don't Do Me Like That," where he's like, you know, he's such a crazy proficient player, and he's like, Tom wrote this piano part, so he's like, Tom can't play the piano, and it's like literally just the most simple thing because he'd want to be able to sing over it when he's playing it. So when he showed it me, I thought like I passed from that. Imagine being in a band with someone this cool. He's like, I passed from that because he was showing it to me, it was really important to him, and that like it was something he liked, so I just played it.
He also said, he's like, plus because Tom came up with it, it was probably in my best interest not to change it.
But to know your role's great, man.
For sure.
But you know
agree.
what? I watched some live shit of them doing this stuff. Man, they missed that shaker live. You can see why Stan Lynch would have been like, this is fucking like not groovy. Like, it's not grooving.
Mm-hmm.
It's the shaker that every single time they like stumbled across a formula, because you watch them play those songs live, it's pretty flat. The shaker is so
They got a
loud
lot of
in the
energy
mix.
though. In those videos, they look really
They
cool.
look they
like
look
it looks
wicked.
like I never saw them, did you?
What?
Tom Petty.
Play live? No.
Yeah, never saw him. Tragic how he passed.
Yeah, it's brutal. Like Prince.
Yeah, it was brutal. I know, but how he was like, I'm doing this one tour, then I'm going to hang out with my grandkids.
Yeah, he was a dope addict though, wasn't he?
Well, he had a bad hip or
Yeah,
something.
it's the same with Prince. They're all just like, you know,
I
abusing.
thought Prince might have been a little
I think they were all
something
just-
different, buddy.
No, I think they were all just like doing dope to mask pain and got addicted to it a little bit too much.
That's what Eric Clapton wants you to think about Prince.
Shit. It's so obvious. Dude, that
You fell right into his trap there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It's true, yeah. I just don't want to have to think about that stuff anymore.
You know what I loved? When Petty played the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody goes out in the Super Bowl and just does like a mashup of all their big songs. And he just
Yeah.
did like
kind of like
set.
a classic album style
He
thing.
just did like the whole set. Like the bridge and everything.
Yeah.
He played like 3 songs the whole way through.
kind of like that, you know, like the ideal Super Bowl band would be the guy who wrote the classic albums.
That would be an ideal
like
Super
get
Bowl
it in
set.
15 minutes, bam, done. You've
Yeah.
the whole
Everything.
history of rock.
Great. That's like not even Super Bowl. That's just like everyone's ideal style of music now.
Is that, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
like people just want to walk around and be like, yes,
6
Stevie
minutes,
Wonder,
understand
like,
rock and
yeah.
roll in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Listen, Bluffer's Guide to Music, 15
And
seconds.
just constant stimulation. Like, okay, I've already had 10 seconds of Jimi Hendrix. Give me something else.
Yeah, please.
Change.
Yeah. Oh, it's like changing a channel
Yeah.
kind of vibe.
But like within the song.
Master of minimalism, I think. There's like Tom Petty is like the Spinal Tap quote, there's a fine line between stupid and clever.
It's true.
Because you listen to his songs, and this is why I think I like the songs that you think are kind of not just like duds, you know, kind of like, because like so many of his songs are like, in fact, probably all of them are, and some of them just like hit a bit harder, and he's like really committed to this idea. It's a formula like that he's figured out where it's like, you know, if I just, and he's like a great singer, he's got a great personality, like very singular, where he's just like, you know, if you listen to like Full Moon Fever that comes out like 10 years afterwards, it's like, just sounds like he's just like working that same formula out, where he's like, you know, not really trying super hard to like Neil Young does it too. This kind of like this master of minimalism. And it's like, you could write a Petty song right now. Like we could write one right now, a chorus, because they're always the same. And then like, if we did though, it's like he's kind of like trademarked it somehow,
Yeah, but
A good heart is hard to find. Take it where you can, don't leave it behind. A good heart is hard to find.
There we go. We'll do that one.
So in that way, by that, okay, if that's your argument, I guess my question is he just really good at turning shit into gold?
I think
is he actually a good songwriter then?
I think he's a great songwriter, and this is why, because I think that like the best songwriters, and this is a big gamut, right? Mm-hmm. But I think there is an element to great songs when they're in the pop dimension, and that encompasses a lot of classic rock. So we're not talking about like, like more. We're talking about very simple sort of American standards, really, like American sort of storybook stuff. I think that like the key to a lot of that Motown's like this is like where you listen to it and you're like, man, I could have written that. Like that's fucking wicked, and it's the confidence. I think it's a faith in yourself to be like, it's okay. I don't need to, and it's kind of like the songwriter's version of being Stan Lynch, where you're like, somehow like I need to prove some extra thing to myself and to others. I was messing around with some demos this week, and I sent one to Brandon, and in it I just like put down this scratch vocal like that I forgot that I'd left in. This is my like lingo, classic rock lingo thing. So it's like I like had this demo in. It was just a demo, man. I wasn't thinking about the vocals.
Cool. Yeah. Cool.
And sent it to Brandon, to B.
Yeah.
And he
say hi for me.
Yeah, for sure. No, he says hi actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he says hi.
Great guy. Yeah.
Great guy.
Haven't seen him in years.
Yeah. So he said back, he was like, "Love, man, those vocals are it."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, "No, man, they're a scratch." He's like, "Matt, didn't even feel like you. It's so relaxed."
Wow.
So I was like, for real, I think that like with Petty, it is like this kind of just like, and like Mac DeMarco's like that. Like where he's just like, you listen to it and you're like, he's just got this like cool thing that he's figured out. And like, it's just American storybook stuff. And, Tom Petty's songs, like they're just kind of songs. And he's just like,
but some of them are really good and some aren't.
Yeah, but that's like, okay too.
For sure.
But
I just mean like, that's what I mean. Like, I just think that like, he has some songs that really rule and some that are kind of duds, and some of the albums aren't that good and some are. Like that's why to me he's never been at the level to me of like a Dylan or Neil.
So when they say he's underrated, I don't agree.
No.
He's a pop.
Yeah.
He's a great contributor to the American storybook. But yeah, he's never written those
because he doesn't have like a blood on the tracks or like
no.
That's kind of all I mean.
100% agree with you.
Yeah.
But he's like a great 45s guy.
Totally.
And he's
I got Don't Do Me Like That 7-inch. Put it on every time I have a party.
They love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love how they were like talking about that one almost didn't make the album.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Yeah, well, it'd been like, but that takes a good producer, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because they were.
No, I thought it was like the like guy who was mopping the floor. He's like, I like that one.
Like the intern.
Yeah.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
I love those
He's like,
stories.
What about Don't Do Me Like That? I like that. He was like, our first hit.
You know what's so funny? What's the song on the record? This is another like classic albums lingo vibe.
Yeah.
Where like Mike Campbell's playing a guitar and he's like, I was like working out the solo. And this is like this shit like is to me, this is really where this is the whole reason we have this podcast. So I can, because you're the only person I know in the whole world that fucking understands why this shit is the stupid. Well, I know some, and apparently another like few hundred people who listen to us understand why this shit's funny, and I love that because didn't think
how we thought before we did this anyway.
And I'm sure you guys did out there lonely in your like ears thinking like fuck, like yeah, it's so funny, like when they're like talking about like something from 20 years that they written prior, and it's like, yeah, I was like working out the solo, and and we were struggling with it. So like Benmont just said to me like, what would Chuck Berry do? So I just like did like Chuck Berry, just play two notes at once.
He'd play two notes at once.
So I just did that. And it's like the idea that like anyone's ever said to someone else, like, "Hey, Mike, what did Chuck Berry do?"
Yeah.
Like that's how people talk,
Well, yeah, and that's how,
and that's why
they're like in the exact same canon as Chuck Berry.
Oh yeah, but that's also why this podcast is essential, because we need to rewrite that like way in which people talk about music, because no one's ever really said that. This is like second-hand news stuff. It's like they didn't say. If they did, they're like autistic or something. No one actually talks like that. No one's ever said like, "Man, play it." Like, let's like seriously think about what Chuck would do. They probably said Chuck.
I've probably said that before and gotten laughed out of the studio by Mike or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure I have. Okay, I got a question for you. What the hell is on that second Tom Petty album? Is there anything on it?
Oh,
Like, that's what I mean. Like, what is that album?
well, the one that has like the Bon Jovi style B-movie album cover.
It's called like Has anyone ever listened to the second Tom Petty?
I've certainly listened to them all. So let's pull
I
the
know
whole
there's
thing
one
up.
really good song on it.
Yeah, it's on You're Gonna Get It.
Yeah, you're gonna get it.
I need to know. If you think you're gonna leave, then you better say so. I let her know. I need to know.
What's the good?
She's gonna listen to her heart.
Yeah, that one's good.
She's gonna tell her what to do. She might need a lot of loving, but she don't need you.
The rest is all bad, right?
You think you're gonna take her away with your money and your cocaine.
That's a fucking really good lyric.
Yeah.
Do you think that they were a band? Although this isn't quite
It's
true.
like Bruce, though, I guess. First two albums.
Yeah,
a
just
little
figuring it
shaky.
out. And also, like, Don't Do Me Like That has a bit of a 10th Avenue Freeze-Out vibe.
Definitely.
You know, that kind of
Definitely.
plinky kind of...
And also because The Night has a real...
well, that's why they work with Iovine.
Yeah. And Patti Smith's third album, too. And I actually think...
Easter, great record.
That's the first record I ever bought at Zulu. And
Really?
I think Because the Night...
the night
written by Bruce Springsteen.
belongs to lovers.
You know, Bruce
That's me doing...
Do you know the story of how...
Dude,
You
let's
know
do
that.
it. Yeah, let's do it. Do it.
Well, just that Bruce wrote the song and
Yeah.
like Patti Smith like heard him recording it.
Yeah.
And then like it's something like she went back in the other studio and they cut it.
Yeah.
And then like Bruce hadn't cut it yet, and then they just basically
Iovine
put theirs
production.
out first.
Saying it would be better coming from a woman.
Yeah.
And that fucking... It's
It
a
is.
great
If
call.
you listen to the Bruce version, it's a little weird.
Yeah, a bit incel-y.
It is.
It's a bit of an incel energy.
Like
A
I come home with
mujahideen.
my hands worked to the bone.
Yeah. It's a mujahideen incel kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Last thing. Although it's not quite true, it's pretty much true. Do you think that Petty is an example of a band that never overcame the best song they ever wrote was the first song they ever released, American Girl?
Yeah. It's probably the best one.
I mean, Breakdown's technically the first single, which seems crazy that they released that before
I don't
American.
care for his kind of Latin style.
It's
vocal.
already,
But
If you
to
don't,
you, it's
It's
yeah,
all
racist,
right if
yeah.
you don't.
Yeah,
I don't know
you
if
can
he's
do
do-
it. I'm not allowed
I'm
to
not
do
sure.
it.
I guess it's a Florida thing or something.
Oh, it's like Steven Stills.
Yeah.
It's alright if you don't. I can see that you're running away, honey.
I get the feeling you want.
Baby, break down. Come ahead and give it to me.
Baby, break down.
So that's the Dwight Twilley guy.
Yeah.
Because like no one can get up there. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's really high.
Twilly.
Twilley, dude.
Twilly's drummer. Yeah, he sings. Yeah, those Twilly records rule.
Yeah?
Yeah, but I know what you mean, man. I mean, okay, here's the thing. Full Moon Fever's good. Wildflowers.
Well, Full Moon Fever's solo though, right?
Oh, and the Heartbreakers.
Yeah.
American Girl's the best song. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, that second verse when God, it's so painful. Something that's so
Baywatch music. It's American music.
Reach.
Oh, yeah.
Every time kills me.
Yeah. Sickening.
Yeah.
Dude,
Good
yeah.
karaoke jam.
Great karaoke jam.
Yeah.
Dude, we used to do that shit.
Yeah.
I miss that. Bimini's,
Oh yeah.
me and you, 15 beers.
You remember that old place off Broadway?
Pre-COVID.
Oh yeah.
We'd fucking
Remember
go
like
there.
Liam Gallagher talking about, you ever go around, have one,
Fucking
have
never
one.
go fucking yeah, fucking going out. Oh, this is for one of our we got sent this.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're just on her Instagram.
Yeah, what did you say?
She posted it. What's her name? I know her Instagram account name.
Jumbo Queen.
Yeah.
She's my friend Tiffany Andrews.
Yeah. You know, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
You fucking mate invites you for fucking beer. You fucking like, he's like fucking, you know, so you're like, mate, I fucking can't go, mate. And he's like, nah, we're just having one. He's like, who the fuck has ever gone for fucking one, mate? Seriously, what? You get fucking all dressed up and shit. Like, look in the mirror, fucking get dolled up, put your fucking Mac on, your made it coat, and you fucking go out there. You go down to the fucking pub. It's like, all right, do pleasantries. My dog's fucking died. All right, we'll fucking have
Got
one.
to listen to that.
Yeah. Have a fucking 100, mate. Do a line, fucking dive in.
You have 100.
Do a fucking line, dive in.
Like 100.
100, is it?
Well, you have at least 10. Yeah.
Hello, I'm just another one of these interviewers setting you up, Charlie
Have you
Rose
ever
style.
gone down?
No, I guess I haven't, Liam.
Yeah.
No one's.
I can do him.
I can
do
yeah,
him
you can be
much
that guy.
more easily than I
because
can
it's
do.
Al Stewart. Time
But you know,
passages.
sometimes I do take exception to friends who say, you know, I can't go out tonight to the pub because
Nah,
you know,
mate.
I'm not
fucking,
drinking.
Nah,
I'm
that's
not
not
drinking.
it, mate. Nah, that's not it, mate. You fucking. I'm a rock and roll star, mate. Cigarettes and alcohol, mate. Fucking mad for me, mate.
So
For me, it's about fucking going down there, fucking doing a line, diving in, COVID or no COVID, mate. I said maybe. We're good.